Welcome to the Eagle Reality Career Talk with your host, Chris Ward, broker in charge of Eagle Realty in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the podcast for realtors and all entrepreneurs.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Eagle Reality Career Talk. I'm Chris Ward, your host, broker in charge, Eagle Realty, North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So glad you could join us again. We're in the middle of this series called Before You Change Real Estate Companies. We're actually in part 3, so if you haven't heard parts 1 and 2, definitely need to go back on iTunes or SoundCloud, wherever you're listening to this from, and go back and check out part 1 and part 2. We are part 3 today. This is a very important one, but let me give you a little recap. Part 1 was talking about defining your success, and I really believe that real estate agents need to define their definition of success instead of letting someone define that for them. I think your career, the trajectory of your career will be that much better. You'll be more passionate, you'll be more in tune, more focused, more determined to reach the goal of your definition of success. And if you can find the right company that aligns with that, that's very important, which is kind of what we're going to get into today. It's a good segue. But you need to define success for you because it does look different for each agent. It does look different for each realtor, and you need to know what your definition of success is instead of trying to reach somebody else's definition of success, and then you fall into this just kind of compare and contrast and really not living your career out, but trying to live up to somebody else's. Part 2 is talking to your current broker, because before you change real estate companies, you might be at the right one. Maybe some things just aren't working out. Maybe there's some relationship issues. Maybe there's some incongruency that can be fixed. There might be some upside that you're not taking advantage of for various reasons, whether it's on your end or whether it's on your broker manager end, and it's something that can be fixed. So I don't like agents that just jump ship because they're running to the next shiny glimmery thing, or they constantly think that the grass is greener kind of thing, when you can probably fix your issues, fix your problems, and maybe stay at the right company, and it might be the right fit. Now, where that kind of breaks down is it might not be the right fit, but you need to look at, is this the right fit, and there's just one or two things or one or two issues that could be solved, and then I don't have to go through the whole process of changing and rebranding and all that kind of thing. So you really need to evaluate your current situation, and to do that, I really suggest talking with your broker, talking with your manager, and seeing what can be worked out before you just send an email and say, hey, I'm out of here. I just think that's professional courtesy. Personally, having lived through those experiences, I think that's something that needs to be extended. Now, this is part 3. This is part 3 of our podcast series, and I'm talking about just interviewing. It's actually called Interview. If you go back, we have a kind of a congruent blog series going on our career website at discovereaglerealty.com. You can read through those blogs, but we're talking about interview because I just feel, and I've talked to a lot of agents actually over my years in the business that have not talked to enough companies and enough brokerages to really find where their best fit might be. They interview maybe 1 or 2, or come straight out of school, or even if they're looking for a new opportunity, they just don't talk to enough brokerages. They don't talk to enough brokers and go find out what different companies are about. And I always suggest at least 4. Talk to a large franchise, a smaller office franchise, talk to a large independent, talk to a smaller independent. That's the minimum. But you may need to take 6, 7, 8 conversations to really find where your values, your ethics, your definition of success, like we talked about in part 1, fits the best and will give you enough congruency to really build your career over the long haul. You're just going to have to really, feel out those conversations. Remember, more so you're interviewing the brokerage than they're interviewing you. In the real estate industry, you're really interviewing where you're the best fit, you're the asset. So you need to look at each interview as, okay, I need to find out about this company, not so that they tell me how to be a real estate agent, but because I know my definition of where I want to be, where I want my career to go and my success to go, and I want to find somewhere that lines up with that. Where can I be best resourced? Where can I have the most support that fits me growing my real estate business in such a way that it's a win-win situation for both parties involved. So that takes talking to people, that takes talking to brokerages and different companies, and not just running to the first one with the best commission split, and not just running to the first one where you have your best friend working in the office. You need to find where you really fit, where your definitions and values and your success goals and achievements all fit in line with what the company offers you for your real estate career. That's going to be a little bit more legwork. It's going to be a little bit more time and energy to do that, but in the long term of your career, it's definitely going to be more well worth taking the time at the beginning and really trying to find where you fit well, instead of jumping around companies throughout your career until you finally find your fit. And we see that most agents jumping around to different companies throughout their career because they didn't talk to enough companies at the beginning stage, or they didn't talk to enough companies when they've been at their starter company, and then they're ready to move on and move up maybe in their career, that they're hitting a ceiling in their starter company, and they didn't talk to enough people for that transition company to really find that right one. That's why you see so many agents jumping around to the next latest greatest thing, is not because they really feel like they can't get that where they're at. It's that they're trying to find where their definitions of success, where their values, where their ethics, where their missions, where their goals all line up with the company that they're at. And I feel like if agents do that on the front end, that they will be more successful, more happy, more passionate about their real estate career. You will find that it will not feel like work as much if you are passionate and love what you do, and you're doing it within an environment that is supportive of your definitions and goals of what you're trying to achieve in your career success-wise. It's amazing. It's amazing when I talk to and I see realtors who have fit in the company culture. Not that they've been molded into it, but they've really aligned with it. They weren't changed. They were aligned, and they came together as a win-win for both the brokerage and the realtor involved. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I know it's shorter, but it's really a very simple point. Interview. I'll add one more interview because I think a minimum of 4 is needed. Take that with you. Make sure you're talking with enough companies, talk with enough brokers, really find that fit in all stages of your career, in all stages of commission splits and values and missions, goals, and culture. Make sure you're finding that right fit for your career so that you are most successful over the long term in your real estate career. Make sure you join us for part 4 coming up next week, and go back and listen to part 1 and 2 if you haven't already. Thanks, and I hope you have a great week in your real estate career. I just want to thank you again for listening to our podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes, The Eagle Reality Career Talk. Also on our YouTube channel /Eagle Realty 1. You can find us all over social media at Eagle Realty SC. And of course, my personal Facebook page, Chris Ward Bick. That's BIC at Chris Ward Bick.